Now before we start, if you guys enjoy this tutorial today, consider becoming a Patreon. You get access to awesome rewards and you also help me out to continue creating Minecraft mods, videos and more. So if you're interested, link in the description below. Hey guys, how's it going? It is Mr. Crayfish and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create your first application using the device API. Now this is the one tutorial that I feel like is going to break in the future. So if you're watching this, maybe 2 months after it's been released, this tutorial may be broken but can still be useful to you. There might just be a little couple of things like constructors and parameters and might have changed since, but if you know what you're doing, you can kind of figure out how to fix that up real easily. But yeah, we're going to be creating our first application and it's not going to be anything crazy. I don't like to do anything crazy, I just like to give you guys an idea of where to go. But yeah, hopefully this will help you guys get started. But let's go ahead, let's get into this right now. So last episode we set up the actual device API. If you guys haven't got that set up yet, make sure you go check out that video. I'll put a card up on the screen right now so you can go to that. But let's go ahead, let's create it. So it's just like setting up any old kind of like mod. So you actually need to have a mod class. So we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to create new Java class and then we're going to call this device tutorial mod. And then again, always do your @mod annotations. I should really have this set up beforehand, so I'm just going to quickly skip through this. I'm assuming you already know how to set up a mod class. Now again, this is not a beginner tutorial. You should already have experience with Minecraft modding. If you don't, I don't suggest you follow this tutorial because you're not going to have a good time if you run into problems, because you're not going to know what to do. You're not going to know what to do. So this is not a beginner tutorial. Learn some Java, learn some Minecraft modding before you actually get into these tutorials today. So there we go, I've set up my mod class, and you guys should be familiar with the initialization event that I've got added into here. Now you can use pre-initialization, however it doesn't matter which one you really use, as long as it's called on the load up when you actually register your application. It will be completely fine. So let's go ahead, let's start creating our first application right now. So we're going to create a new package here. Now this is something that I kind of suggest if you're developing applications using the device API, and that is to have one app per mod. So basically apps, when you add them to them, when they're kind of you add them to the mod, they're kind of they're just add-ons. They're basically just add-ons for the device mod. So when I say one app per mod, I just mean kind of one app per workspace here. If you're developing, if you want to do another application, set up another brand new workspace, do the whole same process again and have a separate workspace for that. If you have two applications, this is kind of the exception. If you have two applications that are supposed to work together, then it can go in the same workspace. There is support for multiple applications in the same workspace, so yeah, you can do that, but I still highly suggest if you're creating completely different applications, two different workspaces. All right. So we've created our app folder, and inside of here we're going to do application tutorial, and then what we're going to do is make this extends application. Now make sure you're selecting the right one, because there is quite a lot in the Java library, and it would be the second one here on my screen, which says com.mrcrayfish.device.api.app. Click on that, and then we're going to need to implement some methods here. These are just kind of the ones that you're most likely going to be using the most. It's just kind of, we got load, save here to save data. We got initialize, so this is where you initialize all your components. Your application, anything that you want goes in here. This is what gets called when you actually start up the application. So next, this is we've already got a working application kind of right now. All we have to do now is actually register this, and we'll actually load this up right now. So we're going to go application manager. in our initialization method here, register application. So we need to give this application an ID, so it takes in a resource location and then an application class. So we're going to do new resource location. You want to do your mod ID, so we're going to do reference.mod ID, and then the ID of the application, so we're going to call this tutorial. And then that's the resource location, and then now we need to provide the actual application class. So ours is application tutorial, so let's type in application tutorial dot class, and then finish that off, and there we go, we've registered our application. So straight off the bat, applications already come with what is known as a default layout. You can provide custom layouts, and we're going to be doing that in this tutorial today because it's a little bit better. Simple applications can just use the default layout, but you know, advanced ones require custom layouts. But if we go ahead and let's launch up this application now, we should see that on the actual laptop it will show this application. Now, I may have made just a big mistake there. This will actually crash. This will actually crash now. Okay, it was accidental. I thought it was gonna work. Okay, that was my mistake. I completely forgot. There is a new kind of workflow with applications. They don't work straight off the bat like this anymore, unfortunately. You actually need to provide an app info JSON file. Now, if we actually go down to here, you'll see we are missing the app info JSON for our app here. So device tutorial, we're missing it. So we're going to go ahead and create it now. It's a very specific location that you've actually got to create this file at. So go here to your resources, and what we're going to do is create a new directory. So we're going to call this assets. So you should be already familiar with the assets folder. Then you type in your mod ID as well. So our mod ID for this project was device tutorial. And then we're going to go ahead and type /apps. And actually we'll just do tutorial. Assets tutorial. Is that right? Hold up. I'm not sure if that worked correctly. Oh no, we created a package, sorry. I think we created a package. New directory. Oh no, we must have not. Assets, device, tutorial, and then we're gonna do apps like that. So assets, device, your mod ID, and then apps. Press OK. We might also create. Oh no, we don't really need to do that, but maybe you want to. I'll do it. Okay. So we're going to do another one. Right click on resources, new directory. We're going to do the same again. So assets, your mod ID, and then we're going to do lang, because there's an option in this actual so there's a feature in the app info for you to actually get a localized string. So that basically means getting a version of that string that is actually converted for a different language. So maybe you're playing in, I don't know, maybe you're playing in Spanish or something like that. You know, you can actually point to the lang file instead, so whoever's playing can actually get a Spanish version of the actual description of your application. So it's kind of a little bit of a more advanced feature, but I do suggest it for, you know, if you want to have, you know, a overall better application. So we're going to go here to our apps. We're going to do new file, and then this has to be the name, the ID of your application. So if we actually go out of here real quickly, and then we go ahead and just copy that there, that's the ID of our application. Go new, go over here to apps again, new file, paste that in, and then go .json. Press OK. Now what goes in this file is some special values. So we need to provide the name of the application, the author, the description, the version. You can provide the icon. So in the description you'll find the kind of standard template for an app JSON. So there'll be a link in the description. I'm going to paste it in right now. So you should be able to paste in this right here. So as you can see, we have name, we have the author, description, icon, version, icon, screenshots. So that's a bit interesting. What is that for? And then also here we have support. So this is where you can actually kind of plug in all of your, your Twitter, YouTube, PayPal, Patreon. Maybe you want people to, if maybe somebody likes your application, they want to follow you the development, or they want to support you, you can like provide PayPal or Patreon. So there's these options here if you guys want to add in this. Now there are some optional values here. You don't even have to have this support in it. I'm actually going to remove it. You don't need to have that in there. You don't need to have an icon because you'll just be provided with the actual kind of missing icon. But however, I do suggest you create an icon, and we might actually add one in for this tutorial just to show you guys how to do it. Screenshots here. We might not get into this today because it's kind of like an unfinished feature. It's for the App Store, but the App Store is not finished yet, so I don't think we'll get into this today. So I'm pretty sure we can actually just get rid of that. If it crashes, we'll put it back in. So we're going to be working with these 5 variables here today. So we have name, author, description, version, and icon. Now I want to say something about the version here real quickly. If you increment this here, so this is a separate version from your actual mod version. If you increment this value to maybe 1.1, you should be incrementing your mod version. If you increment your mod version, sometimes this doesn't have to update because maybe it's something, maybe you just change something around in your tutorial mod here to fix something. It's not really a change to the application, it's more of a change outside of it to it fix something or improve something. So if you do anything outside of the application, just increment your mod version. But if you make changes to your actual application, increment this version and also increment the mod version as well. So let's go ahead, let's fill this in right now. So example here, we're going to change this around to tutorial app. The author is Mr. Crayfish, and then description. So this is the thing I was talking about with the lang file, where you can actually provide a localized version of this string instead. So if you actually go cash sign and then do this to an open and closed squiggly bracket, and then you type in desk like that. Now you might be wondering, where do we actually provide this kind of localized name of it? So it's actually going to go in your lang file as normal, but how do we actually, what is the actual name of it? What's the unlocalized name of it? So we're just going to go ahead and create an en_us.lang file in here. So pretty standard. So the actual representation of this in the lang file, I'm pretty sure, is app dot your mod ID, or your mod ID. So ours is device dash tutorial, then dot the actual ID of the application, so just tutorial like that, and then dot, and then whatever you put inside of the actual brackets here. So desk, so short for description, put that there, and then we go equals, and then whatever your description is. So this is just a test, this is just a tutorial application, nothing fancy. So there we go. So this description will now be localized for the US English. Obviously you can provide all the different types of languages if you know more than one language there. So there we go. And if we go ahead and we load up the game now, the game should not crash anymore now because we've provided the actual app JSON file. And then we should also see that this here is actually replaced with the one in the localized with the lang file there. So let's open this up right now, and then we can find our application on the bar here. It might not be at the end here, it might be at the start. I'm going to basically, in the future, I'm redesigning this hotbar, so don't worry about it too much. But we should be able to find our application. As you can see, tutorial app. Now, we can actually have a look at this. However, I think there's a bit of a bug at the moment. But if you actually go to the application market here, go to search, you should be able to find your application in the list. So here it is, tutorial app. And as you can see, the description here, this is just a tutorial application. Now we can't, if we click on this, it's going to crash. So I'm not going to do that right now. But as you can see, it has actually, retrieved that string from the lang file, which is really awesome, which is really, really awesome. So there we go for that. So that's just, a basic app so far. There's nothing to it. What we're going to do now is actually add some components to it, because, it needs to be an app. It can't just be a blank application. We want to actually add stuff to it. So let's go back to our application class here. And we're going to start introducing you guys to some components here. Now you can find a list of all the components in the API. So we go to libs, device API, open up the source here, go to API, app, component, and you'll see all the different types of components we can add in. So we got a button toggle, so that basically when you click on it, it stays clicked, and then it will stay clicked until you click it again. We have checkboxes, combo boxes, so this is actually a drop-down list. That's kind of the name of it in programming terms, is a combo box. We have image, so you can provide images inside of your actual resources folder, or you can even provide one from URLs. We might actually use that one today. We'll go to, there's inventory, item list. Inventory is useful if you want to get stuff from the player's inventory. Now it does require a little bit more work. I don't recommend you use it right now because you're most likely going to get confused if this is your first time. We have item lists, so a really useful one. Label, number selector, progress bar, radio group. So this is in conjunction with button toggles and check boxes. Slider, spinner, so maybe you want to display something that's loading. I might be refactoring this one in the future, so keep that in mind. We have text, text area, and text field. So a lot of useful components here. Maybe some of them you're already quite familiar with. So in our application here, what we're going to do is first we're actually going to create a brand new layout, because right now we're just using the inbuilt layout of the application. And what I mean by that is it's basically like a scene. If you guys have ever used JavaFX before, you can say set scene and it will change basically the components that are displayed on the screen. So basically it's like going to a different page. So you can say from page 1 go to page 2. And display different components on the screen. So that's basically what layouts are, and you can actually specify the width and the height of them, so you can have different sized applications. So we're going to go ahead, and in here we're going to go ahead and type in layout, and then we're going to type in layout, I don't know, give it a variable name, layout main equals new layout. So let's go ahead and import this. There might be multiple implementations, so make sure you select the correct one here, which is from the app package. And there we go. And then by default, it will work straight off like that, but there is actually some. So here are the parameters. So no parameters, that's a completely valid. It just uses the default width and height. We have another one here to actually specify the width and the height, and then another one which specifies the left top width and height. Now that's a little bit more advanced. We're not going to use that one today. We're actually going to use this second one here, so width and height. So let's maybe go like 200 wide and then maybe 100 high here. Now there is a size limit, and you'll figure that out if you actually go too big, but if you want to actually figure it out, you'll see here. Oh, is there a size limit? I think there's basically, you can't go smaller, but there should be a kind of a maximum size. I'll have to, I'm trying to figure that, make it a little bit better in the future. So there is our layout. Now, this does nothing at the moment. We haven't even told our application to show this layout, so we'll do that in a second here. What we're going to do now is actually add components. So you add components to layouts. Layouts are just a blank type of thing. It's a blank type of thing. It's a wrapper. It's like a manager for like components. So it handles, all the rendering, dishing out all the, actions. So clicking events, dragging events. The layout dishes all those to all the components of it. So, and also, obviously, for different kind of pages, as I mentioned before, as like a way to explain this. I forgot what the word was for that. But obviously, as I mentioned, layouts are different pages. So you can say, if we add a button here, which when you click it, you can say, take me to a different layout. So let's go ahead, let's add a component to this now. So we're going to do a button. So we're going to type in button here. Now make sure you import the correct one. It's that one there from the component package. And then we're going to say button, we'll say button previous, because what we're going to do is we're going to create like maybe like an image application that gets like images from the internet, which is really cool for a first application. So we're going to get a new button. And then this is where it gets a little bit more tricky. We've got a bunch of, we have a lot of constructors here because there's a lot of options with buttons that are added in for you guys. So we're not going to go into all these. These get quite advanced. I'll tell you right now, they get quite advanced. But we have a couple at the top here. And one we're going to use is this third one here. So this is a left, top, and an icon. Alright, so we can actually provide icons to buttons. So there is the option to do text, as you can see from this first one, but there's the option to do icons. You can do text with icons. So let's do this right now. So we need to provide a left and a top. Now, what is the left and a top? Basically, it's the positioning of the button relative to the layout's location. So let's actually load up the game here, and I'm going to quickly just show you guys what I mean by that. So we're going to take a look at one of the applications on our laptop. Let's just take a look maybe at maybe not this one. Let's go to maybe something like NoteStash here. Very basic application that I'm most likely going to be redesigning in the future here. But here is actually an item list, and we've actually positioned this 5 pixels from the left and 5 pixels from the top. So that's how basically it works. This one here is 5 pixels from the top, and I don't know how many, I think it's like maybe like 50 or 80 from the left here. So it kind of uses relative positioning here from the top left. So we're going to go ahead, keep that in mind when you are designing your applications. Now, because I've actually run this in debug mode, which I highly suggest you guys do, you can actually dynamically, add in components without even having to reload the game, which is really, really cool. So here is our tutorial app. We're going to go back to our code here, and we're going to put that back in there, and then we're actually going to create this. So we're going to do something which is 5 from the left, 5 from the top, and then we're going to give this an icon. So there is actually a standard icon library in the mod. Now, if you want to find out what all the icons are, if you actually go down here, find this app called Icons, and have a look at this. These are all the icons you can use to put on buttons. So we have arrows, we have play pause buttons, we have warning buttons, sound, stars, home buttons. There's so many options. You can go next page as well. There's also an alphabet icon set as well, so you can use them as well. We're going to use these arrow icons here, or maybe we'll use these ones, the chevrons, the chevron. So let's go back here, and we're going to type in icons. So this goes to the standard icon library. If you want to do the alphabet, you type in alphabet there, and it should be from the app package. But we're going to do icons, and then we're going to type in chevron, and because this is a previous button, we want to do chevron left. And then what we're going to do is add this button to the layout main here. So we're going to type in layout main dot add component button previous. Now this is not going to show up straight away. What we've actually got to do is tell our application to show this layout, and it's very simple. Right here we do set current layout main. Now if you're doing this inside of the initialization method, it basically means that this is going to be the first layout that's going to be shown when you actually open up the the application. If you do like another set current layout below, it's going to be whatever the last set current layout was specified in here. So only do one of them if you're ever doing it in your initialization method. So there we go. What we're going to do is actually recompile this. So you should be familiar with this already, but if we go build recompile, it will recompile this class. It's updated in the debug. We'll close our application here, load it up again, and have a look at this. We now have a button inside of our tutorial app. How cool is that? So you can click on it. It does really nothing at the moment because we're going to add in an image component here real soon. What we're going to do now is actually put another button on this right side here. So we'll go ahead, and this is going to be button next. And I have like Minecraft music literally blasting in my ears. You guys can't hear it because I've turned off the sound for you guys, but for me, I have Minecraft music blasting in my ears right now. We're just going to change that around to button next, add that. We're going to change this to chevron right. And then we need to change the left position here. So we need that to go like all the way over here. Now, I already know what the width of this actually is. So this is actually 16 by 16 wide by default when you add an icon into it only. So if we take that into consideration, we can find 200 here, and we do like calculator. I know this is kind of basic maths, quick maths. We do 200 take 16, and then we also want to have that kind of 5 gap there. So we take another 5 off that. 179, we'll copy that, and then we'll just pop that into there. We'll go ahead and we'll reload again. Now I'm just going to use my shortcut to reload that because I don't want to go up into this menu every single time to click on that. I've actually configured mine to be Control-Shift-S to recompile it. And then we'll go back into here and tutorial app. As you can see, we've now got the button on the other side there. Pretty cool. What we're going to do next now is we're going to create that image component. So we're going to type in image equals new image. Now there is multiple implementations here. Make sure you import the correct one, which is from the components package, and it should probably most likely be the first one because it's the closest one. And then inside of here again we have a left, a top, and then a bunch of constructors here. So as you can see, we have let's have a look here. Whoops, this is going to show it. Oh my god, it keeps disappearing. Why does that keep disappearing? So okay, whatever. But as you can see, we have a left top width and a height. I really want to show you. There we go. So we have a left top width and a height. We have another one to specify images from a resource location. We have different ones which allow you to specify the actual width and the height of the image and kind of stretch an image out. So maybe you want to have like a really high resolution image in a small component. This second one here will actually set the width and the height of the actual image to the image's width and height. It's a little confusing. You got to kind of play around with it to understand it a little bit. I do suggest you play around with it and see how all these constructors actually work. But the one we're looking at today is going to be more this fourth one here, which allows us to specify a left top component width, component height, and then a URL, which is really cool because you can actually get images from the internet. So we're going to do, we're going to place this image basically inside of here, and then all the down at the bottom. Again, we're going to have a 5 padding gap here between there. So we know that's 5, we know that's 16, so we need another 5 in there. So that should be 26 from the left, 5 from the top. Then the width of this is going to be, let's do our calculations here. Obviously this, you know, working with this can be, like, figuring out your positions can be a little bit difficult. One way I like to do it is, you know, just do it like this. Just do it like this. So we'll do 90. Is just try and guess what the values are, right? Guess what the values are. And then we'll go layout, add component, image, recompile that, and then we'll just go back into our application here. Very, very simple. Load this back up and crash. I think it's because we provided no image. We actually might just provide one real quickly. So what we'll do is we'll go to Google, and then we'll type in like Minecraft, go images, and let's just copy one from here. Maybe we'll, this one looks interesting. Let's just grab this one. Maybe a little more high resolution might be better. Let's grab this one here. So copy the image address. We'll go back into here, and you can do this like this. So I did provide a width and a height, but maybe we'll just do a URL there. The disadvantage, oh no, hold up. We do a component width, sorry. So 90 wide, 100 wide, 90 high. And then we need to provide the URL. So we'll provide that in there. So again, just to recap on that, left, top, width of it, height of it, and then the image we want to display. So we'll save that. Let's reload the game up because it crashed. So let's take a look now at it. And as you can see, it is it's loaded up. Well, it's apparently loading up the image here. I think my internet's just having a few problems because what happened to it? Okay, it apparently said it was an unknown host. Okay, so that's probably just my internet, so don't worry about that. We'll go ahead. Let's get a different image here. Maybe it was just that image. I thought I fixed that bug up. Let's copy this one. So we'll go ahead back into here, change around this URL. Recompile, and then we'll load up our application again. So there we go. It's displaying that the image from the internet. Now, as you can see, the width of this is not correct. So it's just a bit of a playing around with to find the actual value here. So I'm going to do this exactly. So I already know straight off the bat. So we have to do 200. We have to take 16. So we have to account for the width of the two buttons. Take 16 again, so the other button. And then we have to take, so we're going to have padding, a 5 pixel padding here, 5 pixel padding here, 5 pixel padding here, 5 pixel padding here, so that equals 20. So we're going to take 20 off that. And then there we go, that's our width of our image that we need, so 148. So we're going to recompile that. Should be pretty much exactly. There we go. How awesome is that? We did that perfectly. We can also do this, which is really cool. Image.set border visible true. So this will actually add a border around your image. So maybe you want to do this. So as you can see, got a border around it. I'm pretty sure you can set border thickness, so you can actually, maybe you want to make it 5 thick. You can do that. I'm pretty sure as well you can do set border I thought there was a set color option. Okay, maybe I haven't added that in yet. Alright, so I'll figure that out later on. But if we launch this up, now you have a 5 thick border. Thick always just makes me think of thick with 2 C's. But there we go. Let's go back into that. So there we go, we got a border around it. Now what we're going to do is simply just make these buttons scroll to some new images. So maybe we'll specify above here. We might even have to reorder these components here just so we can actually reference them. What we'll do is actually put this image one above the top here, so we can actually reference them in our click listeners here. But what we're going to do is we're just going to do a string array images equals I think we can just do that. Yeah, we can, because we're cool. Oh my god, give me the semicolon. And then what we're going to do is provide some images here. So we're actually going to copy that one out. And then we're going to pop that here. And then we'll do here images. Get the first one. Just for the first one there. We also need to keep in mind what the current index we are currently looking at. So we might actually put this up here as a private static, because it's going to be the same for every single thing. So images, private static final, maybe we'll do images, and then provide some more images here. So we'll get 2 more, I reckon. Maybe this one looks cool. Wait for it to load here. Copy image address. And then we'll get 1 more here. What should we get? Let's grab... what looks cool? I don't know. Yeah, let's just get this one. Pretty basic one. Copy that. Pop that into there. Hopefully that works. It should work. And then we're also going to be storing the current index we are looking at. So private int current image equals 0. I actually don't have to specify that, to be honest. Now, one tip is right now applications keep the same instance. Like this instance of this application will always be the same. So maybe like when you actually initialize your application, you just want to make sure you reset it to back to 0. And then here, let's just change that around there to images 0. And then go here to the buttons. So we're going to do button previous.set click listener. We're going to do new click listener. We're going to change that into lambda real quickly, so replace with lambda. And then what we're going to do is if mouse button equals 0, so this means left click. We're going to say if current image, if current image is less than images dot length take 1. So basically if we're not at the end yet, current image plus plus, and then we'll go image dot set image images current image. So there we go. So that's the next, oh, that's the previous button, sorry. That's actually the next button, sorry. Let's get that out of there. Let's add that to the next button. So set click listener, convert that to lambda, if mouse button equals 0, do that. For this one, sorry, for the previous button, we do if current image is more than 0, then current image take, and then just copy this here like that. And we should be good to go. Now I think we do need to reload the game here. Yes we do, because we created anonymous inner classes, but obviously here it's just lambda, but it's actually an anonymous inner class. And let's take a look now. So our application should be working, so we can scroll through images now. So it's loading the next one. Is it gonna work? Yeah, some URLs might not work. I thought I fixed it up. Let's try. Oh no, it did work. Okay, cool. So it just took a little bit longer. So as you can see, we can scroll through all these images using the button. We're at the end there. Let's go back to the start. So there we go. It's kind of just like a really simple image viewer. Now, I guess that's pretty much it. That's your first application. So if you've got to this point and you've got a, this thing working here like that, you've pretty much completed your first application, and congratulations to you. So hopefully this gives you guys an idea on how to develop applications. Obviously I haven't used all of the components. I'm still trying to figure out how I should do these tutorials. Should I do really long ones, or should I actually do really small tutorials on like every single component? Like how to use an image component, how to use that. So maybe I will try that out. So I'll leave it for another tutorial on how to actually set the application icon. But that is going to end off this tutorial today, guys. Where I'm going to end you off, guys, is to check out all the other components. We only used the button and the image, but I suggest you play around with all these other applications here. You can do things like inside of here with the button, with the click listener here. Let's say you specify another layout, right? Specify another layout. You can actually, you know, inside of here do this .set current layout and switch to a different layout by clicking a button. But yeah, if you guys actually enjoyed this tutorial today and you learned how to create your first application, make sure you go ahead, snap that like button, send me screenshots of your guys' working applications to my Twitter. You can find a link in the description below, or post them into screenshots here. Show people in the Discord server your first application. It would be really awesome. Become a part of this community, and I will see you guys later. Bye.